We got ourselves a downright mechanical carnage mystery right here. The truck's been sitting for days. It's always leaked air. It's got no air in it. Parking brakes are set, but it doesn't matter because that spring brake chamber should be clamped down hard as hell. And yet, I can hear shoes dragging, and through the inspection port, which I can't seem to peel out right now with my bare fingers, everything looks normal. But everything looked normal through the inspection port over there. So I'm thinking that maybe pulling the dust shroud would be the best way to have ourselves a bit of a squinty inside. A little bit of a shift around and see if we can spot something amiss. This thing should be clamped on. So what we've got here is either a situation like that rear wheel over there. I haven't been in any of these rear wheels. Up until now, there hasn't been a need to. I've been in the front hubs a bunch, but never the rear ones. I've just been pulling my brake shoe ports and having a look around and, you know, giving them a feel as I drive, just your basic stuff. And I was worried when I found that one shattered and hanging in there, since it gave me no warning whatsoever. This, again, this spring can should have this thing clamped on really, really tight. So either we've got a broken spring, which is somehow twisted and misaligned itself so that it's not putting any pressure on here, which seems really, really rare, or the shoe springs in this wheel have also broken, and the shoes, the bottom shoe can drop, and because the bottom shoe can drop, it can't cam the two of them together, which seems insane as well, especially for a vehicle with I mean, comparing the three trucks, there's just no way this is the least miles of all of them. There's just no way this thing's got more than 15,000-20,000 miles on it. Just no way. And that's the kind of crap you don't even see in over-the-road trucks snapping off like that, short of 500,000 miles. So what the heck? If we've got two of them on the same truck, kitty corner axles, what the heck is going on? I like my dust shroud idea. I'm going to drop the jack, get this thing out of here, pull that dust shroud, and that'll give me that whole big sweep. Rather than trying to pry out these inner inspection ports, that is just 2/4 inch bolts, I think. And I should be able to get a ratchet on them. Get them out of here, have a look, find out what's going on. I mean, I can hear a shoe. I mean, I can't roll it very far, right? But I can still hear a shoe, and it sounds about what I'd expect when I roll the front ones, and I know those brakes are set right because I just did it all last fall. So let's get these apart and have a look. Well, now the springs are in this one. Everything appears to be normal. I'd love to put air to the truck and force the spring brakes off. But I gotta put that diaphragm in first. Maybe I need to do that. I know I mentioned it once before when I was talking about adjusting the brakes, which even with what we do going up into the mountains, I have clicked over a front wheel, but I've never clicked over a rear wheel. But your drums have got this little chamfer right here, and the brake shoes go all the way out to the outside edge. So what it means is that your brake shoes your brake shoes will develop a lip on this side. It's kind of a bum deal because it developed a lip on the outside edge. I got a shoe handy. Anyways, you develop a lip on the outside edge, and it gives you the impression that your brake shoes are properly aligned when they might not actually be. So what I've been taking to doing is with a dust mask and in the wind or with water, usually a big horse rasp in water, I have been, whenever I take the shoes off, taking that lip off the inside edge. That way I can actually see in there and tell where I sit with adjustment. These appear to be fine. That's an awful lot of brake for us driving around empty at slow speeds. You know, I mean, I know we do a lot of miles and whatnot, but we don't put hardly any weight in the truck. And I never run it fast, so brakes last dang near forever. But that's a new one on me. That means there's something in here that's gone wrong. So I think what the next thing to do is let's go ahead and get that diaphragm in place so I can air up the truck. And it'll let me test that diaphragm anyways. But then once I air up the truck, we can see what these things do when the air comes off. You know, find out if they don't move at all, find out if this thing's not moving at all, find out if they somehow, God forbid, open up this huge gap, and if this one is just completely overextended somehow, which means it's put in wrong. But I suspect the spring's broken, which is nice because these things are like $200. And no, you can't use regular ones, which are like $35 at a truck stop. You gotta get these that aren't used anymore.
This 170.
That's the part number. Hold on a second, give me a bit of quiet, okay? So I got that brake chamber back together, and when I disengage the parking brake, these shoes don't really, to my naked eye, they don't really appear to move up at all, but they do get loose. I wonder if this whole wedge is backed off too much. That might cause it to do it. I mean, the spring brakes only actuate one side, right? So the service brakes are on both sides, push the shoes from both sides. Spring brakes, they only activate one side, so they got to activate a lot farther. Essentially one lobe has to do the work of two. And that could explain why the pair still work on this wheel, because I've done the pavement skid test. I do it every year. I have to remember how to adjust that. I think you back that ring off, loosen the clamps, unbolt it, and turn the whole thing in a turn, and then tighten the ring back down. I'm going to have to double check the book. Don't trust me on that. I'm going to have to double check the book. I think that's how it's done. That, or you unscrew it entirely and there's an adjustment at the top of the wedge. Well, the brakes themselves are properly adjusted. I could tighten them up to overcome it, but I think there's a problem. I think the wedge is too far back. That's what I think is going on. I'll have to take this apart to see for sure, but I want to check the manual first. And it is nice. We're sitting here and I'm not leaking any air. And I'm not leaking. This is with the brakes on. So that's really nice. I'm sure it's temporary, but it's really nice. And then with the parking brake off, I also don't leak any air, and that's where that one can was leaking. It was leaking when it was off, so it was quiet as long as the parking brake was set, which is why it went unnoticed for a while. But that's why my air compressor was coming on so much. I mean, I'm sure I got little stuff bubbling, but nothing major. Alright, I don't know necessarily that we learned a whole lot. about our mystery wheel, but I have a plan to move forward with. It's not road critical because, again, you use both of them on the service brakes, but what's the point of having a big greasy spring in here to set brakes if you lose air pressure and bring you to a halt if they don't bring you to a halt if you lose air pressure? So that's got to be fixed. I'm sure it's a DOT failure. I'm equally sure it's a DOT failure they'd never find in an inspection, but there's no doubt that's a DOT failure. Don't mess with brakes.